Steel screams in the dark. Not battle cries. Not commands. Just metal colliding and men breathing too fast. Hooves slam into mud. Someone is shouting, but the words collapse into noise. Torches flicker, then vanish. A banner drops, no one reaches for it. Armor feels heavier now. Every step sinks. Every breath tastes like smoke and iron. A horn sounds once. Too short. Too late. Shadows move where soldiers should be standing. The ground trembles, not from an army, but from something closer. Something already here. A rider turns his head. His visor is raised. His eyes are wide. The order never comes. Steel slides free from scabbards all at once, a sound like teeth grinding. Someone falls. No one sees how. The night presses inward. Too quiet. Too close. Then silence. Not the silence of victory. Not the silence of death. But the silence that follows when something goes wrong so completely that even history hesitates to speak. Somewhere in the darkness, a dragon banner twists in the wind. Its symbol catches firelight for just a second, then disappears. And standing between two worlds, between faith and survival, between crown and command, one man waits. A warrior who should not be here. A knight fighting for an enemy throne. A prince bound by oaths that will destroy him. When the sun rises, the chronicles will argue. The witnesses will contradict each other. And the truth will fracture. But one question will remain. Why did the dragon fight for the Sultan, and what did it cost him? The year is the closing edge of the 14th century, and the Balkans no longer belong to themselves. Empires press inward from every direction. From the east, the Ottomans advance with disciplined patience. From the west, fatting crusader states cling to old titles and broken alliances. From the north, kingdoms watch and wait. This is not an age of clear borders. It is an age of survival. Cities change masters without changing walls. Lords swear loyalty in public and plan rebellion in private. Every oath carries an expiration date. The battlefield is not just land. It is diplomacy, tribute, hostages, marriages, and fear. At the center of this tension stands Serbia, fractured, vulnerable, and strategically priceless. Not powerful enough to resist empire. Not weak enough to be ignored. Its rivers are roads. Its fortresses are keys. Its knights are coveted. After the catastrophic defeat at Kosovo, nothing is settled, except uncertainty. The old order is broken, but the new one has not yet hardened. The Ottoman court understands this. They do not rush. They absorb. Vassalage becomes a weapon more effective than invasion. Serve the Sultan, and your lands survive. Resist, and history erases you. But service comes with a price. Troops are demanded. Princes are summoned. Wars are fought far from home, for causes that are not your own. Christian knights ride beneath Muslim banners. Old enemies fight side by side, bound not by belief but necessity. Every campaign carries tension within its ranks. Trust is fragile. Loyalty is tested daily. And over all of it hangs the awareness that one wrong move, one perceived betrayal, can end a dynasty. This is not a world of heroes and villains. It is a world of calculations. In this world, brilliance is dangerous. Talent attracts attention. Strength invites control. And somewhere within this pressure cooker of ambition and fear, a Serbian ruler will make a choice that defines him forever. A choice that places him at the head of elite cavalry, not defending his people, but fighting for the very power that threatens them. History will record the battles, the treaties, the victories. but it will not agree on the man. Was he a traitor, a survivor, a strategist playing a longer game, or something else entirely? The chronicles grow cautious here. Details blur, motives soften, as if even the scribes were unsure how to judge what comes next. Stefan Lazarević is raised in a world where hesitation is fatal. From childhood, discipline is not taught, it is enforced. Training begins before dawn, ends after dusk. Sword drills until arms shake. Horse training until balance becomes instinct. Armor worn not for ceremony, but endurance. Mistakes are corrected immediately. Publicly, harshly. A future ruler cannot appear weak. Especially not now. Stefan grows up listening to veterans argue in low voices. About Kosovo. About betrayal. About fate. He learns early that bravery alone is useless without control. That rage wastes energy. That fear must be mastered or hidden. His court is quiet, measured. Everyone watches everyone else. As a young noble, Stefan studies languages, law, poetry, and war. A strange combination, yet necessary. Because power now requires more than force. It requires understanding the enemy. Daily life is regimented. Meals taken quickly. Weapons cleaned personally. Sleep comes lightly. There are rules for everything. When to speak. When to bow. When to remain silent. Breaking protocol carries consequences. Not always spoken. Always understood. And then comes the reality that defines him. Serbia survives only by bending. Stefan becomes more than a prince. He becomes collateral. His loyalty is pledged to the Ottoman Sultan. His knights are integrated into Ottoman campaigns. His skill is tested, then relied upon. On campaign, his men are precise. Disciplined. Feared. They ride hard. Strike fast. Withdraw cleanly. The Ottomans respect this. And respect is dangerous. Because respect draws expectation. Expectation becomes obligation. Stefan is praised. Then positioned. Then watched. He learns to mask emotion completely. No triumph. No anger. Only obedience. But obedience has limits. Every order forces him to calculate consequences beyond the battlefield. How many men lost? How much trust gained or destroyed? At night, away from the campfires, doubt settles in. Not loud. Persistent. He is neither fully free nor fully captive. A ruler without independence. A commander without choice. The men under him believe in his calm. They trust his silence. They do not see the weight. And Stefan never allows them to. The first sign is not fear. It is hesitation. Orders that once arrived with precision now come softened at the edges. Not wrong. Not disobedient. Just delayed. Riders reach the camp later than expected, dust still fresh on their cloaks, breath steady, as if they were never in a hurry at all. When questioned, their answers are brief. Too brief. Routes are adjusted by small degrees. A valley avoided. A ridge taken wider than necessary. No explanation follows. Stefan notices the pattern but says nothing. At night, the camp sounds different. Fewer laughs. More coughing. Footsteps that pause when another approaches. Conversations stop the moment authority draws near, not in panic, but in discipline. Too much discipline. Campfires burn lower than before. Not because of lack of fuel, but choice. Flames are shielded. Light feels unwelcome. Scouts return with reports that do not align. One claims signs of recent movement. Another insists the same area is untouched. Tracks appear, then vanish. Camp remnants are found warm but abandoned. Food left behind. Animals gone. No enemy banners. No alarms. Just absence. Stefan begins to notice unfamiliar faces near his command tent. Men introduced as liaisons. Observers. They do not advise. They listen. Their eyes linger too long on maps, on formations, on Stefan himself. Signals begin to fail. A horn sounds once when it should sound twice. A banner is raised, then lowered, then raised again as if someone hesitated at the last moment. No one is punished. That, more than anything, feels wrong. Discipline without consequence creates uncertainty. Uncertainty breeds fear. The horses sense it first. They refuse water. Stamp the ground at nothing. Pull against reins even when calm voices speak to them. Armor checks become obsessive. Straps tighten twice. Blades tested against stone again and again. Not from preparation. From instinct. A scheduled courier never arrives. No body is found. No horse returns riderless. It is as if the man simply stopped existing somewhere between two known points. The camp waits. Hours pass. No command is given to investigate. When Stefan finally asks for clarification, the response is polite. Measured. Empty. Delays happen. That night, sleep does not come easily. Wind moves through the camp without sound. Banners barely stir. The moon hangs low, distorted by cloud. Stefan lies awake, counting breaths, not his own but the camp. Listening for patterns. Something feels compressed, as if space itself has narrowed. Before dawn, orders are issued for movement. The route is different again. Not dramatically. Just enough. The terrain ahead is tighter. More enclosed. Stefan studies the map longer than necessary. No markings suggest danger. No notes explain the changes. He folds the map carefully. Nearby, a junior officer crosses himself, then stops, remembering where he is. Another man mutters a prayer under his breath, barely audible. No one laughs. Weapons are distributed silently. No speeches. No encouragement. The dragon banner is unfurled without ceremony. As the column prepares to move, Stefan senses something he cannot name, not threat, not betrayal, but expectation. As if events have already been decided elsewhere. As if the march is a formality. The final sign comes moments before departure. A signal rider approaches. Delivers a sealed message. Stefan breaks the seal. The contents are short. Perfectly worded. Vague. He reads it once. Then again. Then folds it away. His expression does not change. But his hand tightens on the reins. The column begins to move. And behind them, the camp extinguishes its fires completely. As if no one expects to return. The movement begins without ceremony. No drums. No chant. Just the soft, uneven rhythm of hooves pressing into damp earth. The column advances before the sky fully changes color. Not night. Not morning. A colorless hour where depth is hard to judge and distance lies. At first, everything feels controlled. Spacing is correct. Pace is steady. Breathing settles into rhythm. Then the land tightens. The path narrows earlier than expected. Hills rise on both sides, gentle but close, cutting sightlines into fragments. The air feels heavier here, unmoving. Sound changes. Hooves no longer echo the same way. Metal does not ring, it dulls. Stefan senses it before he can name it. A pressure like a held breath. The rear of the column slows. Not abruptly. Gradually. No order is given. Riders glance back, then forward again, unsure whether to speak. No signal comes from ahead. A horn sounds. Once. It is the wrong pitch. Too short. Too uncertain. Stefan turns in the saddle, raising his arm instinctively, and realizes the signal has already been answered by movement, not command. Units begin to compress. Not into formation. Into each other. Spacing collapses by instinct as riders try to maintain contact. Horses sidestep. Armor scrapes. Someone calls out a correction. Another voice overlaps it. Neither completes the sentence. The column stutters. Then stops. Not all at once. Front elements halt. The middle presses forward. The rear keeps moving. The sound becomes chaotic, not loud, just confused. Leather creaks. Metal shifts. Breathing accelerates. Stefan urges his horse forward half a length, searching for clarity. He finds none. The hills on both sides seem closer now. Too close. Movement flickers at the edge of vision. Not charging. Not retreating. Just motion. Stefan reaches for a signal officer. The man is no longer where he should be. Not fallen. Not moved. Gone. A sudden surge ripples through the right flank. Not an attack, more like a collapse of balance. A rider disappears from view behind another horse. No cry follows. The dragon banner snaps once in a wind that did not exist a moment before. Steel slides from scabbards. The sound is sharp. Too sharp for the silence surrounding it. Stefan shouts an order. It leaves his mouth. But it does not travel. The sound feels absorbed. More movement closer now. From the flanks. From behind. But there is no clear shape to it. Men turn in their saddles, blades raised toward nothing definite. Horses rear, then settle, then rear again. Someone strikes. At what no one sees. Time stretches. Seconds feel elongated, elastic, disconnected from sequence. Stefan sees fragments instead of events. A dropped glove in the mud. A helmet rolling empty. A standard pole snapping without resistance. There is no battle line. No charge. No retreat. Just disintegration. Another horn sounds, this one correct. But it is immediately cut short. Not silenced. Interrupted. As if the player stopped breathing. Then the noise collapses. Not fades. Collapses. Sound drains away unevenly, leaving behind pockets of unnatural quiet. Stefan remains mounted. He becomes aware of this suddenly, sharply. Around him, space has opened. Too much space. Where riders stood moments ago, there is nothing. No bodies. No fallen horses. Just disturbed ground. The dragon banner droops beside him, its fabric heavy, unmoving. No one issues commands now. No one responds. Movement resumes in scattered bursts, individual riders breaking free of the compression, pushing outward in different directions, unsure whether they are advancing or fleeing. Stefan does not pursue. He cannot. There is no direction to pursue into. The hills return his gaze blankly. Gradually, too gradually, the remaining men regroup. Not by order. By proximity. Faces are pale. Eyes refuse to settle. Someone tries to count. Stops halfway through. The count makes no sense. Units are present that should not be. Absent that should be close. Questions are asked. They go unanswered. No enemy follows. No pursuit presses. The path ahead is suddenly clear again, wider than before, as if the land itself has relaxed. As night begins to fall, the column moves again. Slowly, carefully. No one speaks of what just happened. When camp is made, it is smaller than planned. Fires are lit reluctantly. Names are called. Some are answered twice. Some not at all. No one knows when the incident ended. No one knows where it began. Only that something has passed through them and left. Stefan stands apart, still armored, long after others have dismounted. The dragon banner is planted beside him. It leans slightly. The wind does not touch it. And in the silence that settles over the camp, one certainty remains unspoken. Whatever happened here was not meant to be witnessed clearly. Only survived. The response begins before the camp fully wakes. Orders are issued quietly. Not announced. Pass from mouth to ear. Search parties are assembled with unusual care. Their routes overlap in precise patterns, covering the same ground twice while leaving other areas untouched. No one explains why. The terrain is inspected first. Not for enemies, but for signs. Disturbed earth is noted. Then dismissed. Broken equipment is collected, cataloged, and moved. Some items are logged. Others are set aside without record. Questions are asked in a particular order. Who was standing where? Who heard which signal? Who moved before the halt? No one asks what caused the halt. Witnesses are separated, not aggressively but methodically. Each account is taken alone. The answers do not align. Times differ by minutes that matter. Distances stretch and shrink depending on who speaks. Signals are described in conflicting detail. One officer insists the horn sounded twice. Another swears it sounded once, then stopped. Both are certain. When pressed, they grow quieter. Some men cannot explain what they saw without contradicting themselves. They stop mid-sentence. Restart. Not from fear. From uncertainty. Search teams return empty-handed. No bodies. No signs of pursuit. No enemy traces. Even the horses that bolted are found hours later, calm, uninjured, standing far from where they should be. Interrogations continue. Not accusations. Clarifications. But the tone is wrong. Too polite. Too controlled. Names are written down, then crossed out. Numbers are tallied, then revised. The official count shifts repeatedly before settling on a figure that satisfies no one. Stefan is summoned. Not immediately. He waits. When he is finally questioned, it is done formally. Witness to events. Not subject. He is asked about formations, not decisions. About timing, not intent. No one asks him what he believes happened. Observers attend the questioning. They do not speak. They watch. Stefan answers precisely. Briefly. Nothing he says is challenged. Nothing is confirmed. Afterward, he is dismissed without comment. The investigation concludes faster than expected. Too fast for its complexity. A report is drafted. Its language is cautious. Technical. Neutral. Phrases like loss of cohesion, environmental confusion, and communication irregularities appear frequently. No mention is made of disappearance. No mention of uncertainty. Responsibility is diffused until it belongs to no one. The document is sealed. Copies are limited. Later, subtle changes are noticed. A line removed. a name altered, a timestamp corrected. When questioned, clerks insist the record has always read this way. Search efforts taper off quietly. No announcement marks their end. They simply stop. Witnesses are reassigned. Units are dispersed. Some men are promoted unexpectedly. Others transferred far from the region. No pattern is acknowledged. The camp moves on. But something lingers. Men avoid speaking about that day, not by order but instinct. When it is mentioned, voices drop. Details blur. Even memory feels unreliable. Stefan notices that future correspondence references the incident indirectly, as if it were common knowledge, yet too fragile to name. A footnote without context. A date without description. Whatever occurred has been absorbed into the machinery of empire. Processed, filed, neutralized. But the gaps remain, and in those gaps questions survive. Unwritten, unanswered, waiting. When official explanations fail, theories emerge quietly. Not shouted, whispered. They pass from tent to tent, from officer to officer, changing shape each time they are repeated. Each claims to explain what the records refuse to. The first theory is the most direct, that the incident was a deliberate internal purge. According to this version, loyalty was being tested. Not openly, but tactically. Certain units, certain officers were no longer trusted. Rather than accuse them, they were placed in a situation where failure would erase them without scandal. No executions, no trials, just disappearance within confusion. Supporters of this theory point to the presence of unfamiliar observers, to the overlapping search routes, to the speed with which the investigation closed. But the theory fractures under scrutiny. If this was a purge, why spare Stefan? Why leave witnesses at all? Why allow contradictions to survive in the reports? An empire skilled in discipline does not usually tolerate loose ends. The second theory shifts responsibility away from intent and toward miscalculation. A strategic maneuver gone wrong. A complex movement designed to reposition forces without open engagement. Signals misread. Timing misjudged. In this version, confusion compounded itself until cohesion collapsed. Men moved where they should not have. Units lost visual contact. And in the compression of terrain and uncertainty, the formation simply failed. This theory appears frequently in official language. It is safe, technical, yet it does not explain the absences. Disorganization leaves evidence. Equipment, bodies, traces. Here, there are gaps where substance should be. The third theory is quieter and more political. That the incident was a message, not to Stefan's men, but to Stefan himself. A demonstration of vulnerability. A reminder of dependence. Under this interpretation, nothing went wrong. Everything happened as intended. The disappearance was selective, targeted, a way to communicate without words. You serve at our discretion. Those who support this idea point to what followed. Stefan was not punished, not praised. He was retained, useful, but reminded. Yet this theory raises its own questions. Why such ambiguity? Why risk destabilizing a valuable commander? Messages are only effective when they are understood. And this one remains dangerously unclear. The final theory is the most unsettling and the least documented. That the truth was never fully known, even at the time. That reports were rewritten not to hide intent, but to mask uncertainty. In this version, something occurred that did not fit existing frameworks of command warfare, or responsibility. Something that left no clear enemy, no clear cause, and no way to explain loss without admitting ignorance. Empires do not record ignorance. They replace it. Files are simplified. Language is neutralized. Events are reduced until they can be managed. This would explain the contradictions, the missing pages, the erased names. Not conspiracy, but control. Not deception, but containment. Supporting this theory are the silenced witnesses, the reassigned officers, the absence of follow-up. Not punished, just removed from relevance. Each theory answers some questions and creates others. None account for everything, and none survive intact. What remains are fragments. A date, a location, a number that does not quite add up, and a commander who continued to serve brilliantly under a shadow no chronicle ever fully describes. Perhaps the truth lies between these explanations. Or perhaps it was lost the moment silence became preferable to accuracy. Because sometimes history does not hide what happened. It simply decides it cannot afford to remember it clearly. History does not accuse Stefan Lazarević. It praises him. It remembers a ruler who rebuilt cities, wrote poetry, and reformed armies. A knight admired by enemies and allies alike. A mind sharp enough to survive an age that destroyed the careless. But history is selective. It preserves what strengthens continuity and softens what complicates it. The incident fades into margins. A paragraph without detail. A reference without explanation. Not denied, just reduced. Perhaps that is why the truth never surfaced. Not because it was too dark, but because it was too unstable. It challenged simple loyalty. It resisted clean judgment. It exposed how fragile command becomes when power depends on silence. Stefan continued to serve, to command, to rule. Yet no chronicle explains how a man so disciplined, so controlled, could pass through that moment unchanged. Or whether he did. Some say brilliance demands compromise. Others believe survival requires forgetting. But forgetting is rarely complete. The unanswered questions remain suspended between footnotes and memory, between what was witnessed and what was allowed to be written. When a dragon fights for another throne, it may win battles. It may earn favor. It may even shape empires. But it never escapes the cost of standing between worlds. And so the final question remains, not for historians but for us. Was Stefan Lazarević a master of survival? Or a ruler forever shaped by a truth he was never permitted to name? Share your theory in the comments.